Commander Olivia Martinez rubbed her tired eyes. The clock on her office wall showed 3 a.m. Earth Standard Time. Most of the crew on Liberty Point Space Station were asleep, but she had reports to finish. 5 years since humans had first ventured beyond their solar system, and the paperwork only grew. A soft buzz from her computer made her look up. Then another. Then every screen in her office lit up at once. What the? She stood quickly as the station's alarms began to sound. The main screen flickered with strange symbols that moved and changed. The speakers crackled with sounds no human throat could make. Her comm unit buzzed. "Commander, are you seeing this?" It was Officer Ryan Green, Night Shift Communications. "I'm seeing it, Green. What am I looking at?" "It's on every channel, every frequency. The translation matrix is working on it, but this isn't from any Earth colony." Olivia's heart beat faster. First contact. After years of searching the stars, something had found them instead. "Patch it through to the main conference room. Wake up all senior staff. Now." 10 minutes later, Olivia stood before her bleary-eyed team as the strange message played on the large screen. The station's AI worked to make sense of the alien language. "Progress, Dr. Wilson," she asked the linguist who was typing furiously at his console. "The basic structure is becoming clear," he said. "It's a distress call. They call themselves the Kalians." The room went quiet as words began to appear beneath the alien symbols. "Hell P. Worlds burning. Enemy He destroys all. We die." More words followed. Coordinates. Details about the attackers, something called the Void Dominion. How many worlds had fallen? "They're broadcasting this everywhere," said Green, "to anyone who might hear." "And we heard," Olivia said softly. Within hours, Earth's Defense Council was in emergency session. Screens showed government leaders from all Earth nations and colonies. Captain Daniel Wright stood before them, his uniform crisp despite the early hour. At 45, with gray starting to show in his dark hair, he had seen humanity's first steps into space and survived the Mars colony crisis. "We have to help them," he said simply. "Captain Wright," said Counselor Adams, "humanity has barely mastered faster-than-light travel. We have exactly 7 warships capable of reaching these coordinates. 7, against an enemy that has already conquered multiple worlds." "So we send all 7, Wright answered. The debate raged for hours. Some argued for caution. This could be a trap. Others worried about Earth's defenses if they sent their fleet away. Wright listened patiently, then spoke again. "When we were children, we looked at the stars and wondered if we were alone. Now we know we're not, and the first thing we've heard from beyond is a cry for help." He paused. "What does it say about humanity if we ignore it?" In the end, the vote was close. 4 starships would go, led by Wright on the horizon, while 3 remained to defend Earth. 3 days later, Olivia watched from Liberty Point as the small fleet prepared to jump. "Think they have a chance?" asked her second-in-command. Olivia thought about what she knew of Captain Wright and his crew. Humans had evolved on a planet that tried to kill them daily, with weather, predators, disease, and their own wars. They had survived it all. Earth was what alien species might call a death world, and its people were forged in its challenges. "If anyone can help," she said, "it's us." On the bridge of the horizon, Captain Wright gave the order. The stars blurred as the human fleet jumped toward the unknown, racing to answer the call that had crossed the stars. The Deathworlders were coming. The journey took 16 days. Captain Wright spent most of it studying the distress message, trying to learn all he could about these Kalians and their enemy. The crew trained for every possible scenario, from peaceful greeting to immediate combat. Lieutenant Samantha Collins worked day and night with the translation systems. As the fleet's best xenolinguist, she had to find a way to talk with aliens no human had ever met. "Dropping out of FTL in 5 minutes, Captain," called the pilot. Wright nodded. "Battle stations. Shields up." The view screen showed streaks of light that suddenly resolved into stars. Before them hung a blue-green planet wrapped in wisps of pink clouds. Beautiful, but the beauty was marred by the signs of battle. Debris floated in orbit, the remains of ships and stations. "Sir, we're being hailed," said Officer Ben Foster. "On screen," Wright ordered. The image that appeared made several crew members gasp. The alien was tall and thin with 4 long arms and skin that glowed with a soft inner light. Its face had large, dark eyes that seemed filled with both fear and hope. "I am Captain Daniel Wright of Earth," he said clearly. "We received your call for help." Collins worked quickly at her station, feeding the alien's response through the translator. "I am Thalon, ambassador of the Kalian High Council," came the translated voice, feminine and musical. "You came. We feared no one would." "We came," Wright confirmed. "Tell us how we can help." The Horizon docked at what remained of the Kalian orbital station. The gravity was only about 70% of Earth's, making the humans feel strangely light as they walked. Ambassador Thalon led Wright and Collins to a meeting chamber. Other Kalians watched the humans with wonder as they passed. "You walk so heavily," Thalon noticed. "Does our gravity not affect you?" Collins smiled. "This feels light to us. Earth's gravity is much stronger." The ambassador's glowing skin pulsed brighter. "Truly, how do you live under such weight?" "It's normal for us," Wright said. In the chamber, Thalon showed them images of the Void Dominion attacks. 3 Kalian colonies reduced to ash. Millions dead. "They come without warning," she explained. "Their ships are fast. Their weapons burn through our defenses easily. Our people are peaceful. We create art and study healing. We never prepared for war." "Why do they attack you?" Collins asked. "Resources, territory, and because they can," Thalon said sadly. "The Dominion believes the strong should rule the weak." "And what do they look like, these attackers?" Wright asked. Thalon showed an image of a creature in a metal exoskeleton. It had 6 limbs and a hard shell, like an earth insect grown to human size. "They wear those suits to fight?" Collins asked. "They wear them always. Their bodies evolved in very low gravity. They need the support." Wright and Collins exchanged a look. That was useful information. "Can you show us their ships? Their weapons?" Wright asked. As the briefing continued, more humans joined from the other ships. Lieutenant John Rodriguez, their tactical officer, studied the Dominion's attack patterns. Dr. Alan Campbell, chief medical officer, spoke with Kalian healers about both species' biology. "You're so different," Thalon said, watching the humans move confidently through the station. "You breathe our air with no trouble. You drink our water. Your bodies seem so sturdy." "Earth is what you might call a death world," Collins explained. "High gravity, extreme weather, thousands of predators. Humans evolved to survive all of it." Thalon's eyes widened. "Perhaps that is why the universe sent you to us. We needed warriors born from hardship." Outside the viewport, more Dominion ships appeared at the edge of the system. The enemy was returning, sooner than expected. "We'll need to move quickly," Wright said. "Show us your defenses, Ambassador. Let's see what we're working with." The time for talk was ending. Soon, the Void Dominion would learn what it meant to face humans in battle. Lieutenant John Rodriguez spread the tactical maps across the table. 3 days had passed since the human fleet arrived, and the Void Dominion ships hung at the edge of the system, gathering their forces. "They always attack the same way," explained Nilara, a Kalian defense analyst. Her 4 hands moved gracefully over the holographic display. "First, they target our communication centers, then power stations, then they release toxins into our atmosphere." Rodriguez nodded, his eyes never leaving the display. "They're methodical. That's good." "Good?" Nilara's skin dimmed in confusion. "Predictable enemies are easier to defeat," he explained. "They follow patterns. We can use that." While Rodriguez studied the Dominion's tactics, Commander Lisa Patterson prepared for a different mission. Her small scout ship, The Raven would get close enough to observe a Dominion fleet without being detected. "We'll use the third moon for cover," she told her team of 4. "Their sensors have blind spots we can exploit." The Raven departed silently, its advanced stealth systems, the best Earth had developed, making it nearly invisible against the blackness of space. 3 tense days later, Patterson returned with valuable information. Captain Wright called everyone to the command center to hear her report. "They're not what we thought," Patterson said, bringing up images on the main screen. "We managed to scan inside their ships. The images showed the Dominion warriors removing parts of their exoskeletons in their private quarters. Without the fearsome armor, they looked fragile, thin limbs, delicate joints. They evolved in even lower gravity than the Kalians," Patterson explained. "Their home world has about 40% of Earth's gravity. Those suits aren't just weapons. They're the only way they can function in normal conditions." Ambassador Thalen stared at the images. "All this time, we thought they were monsters of incredible strength." "They are strong," Wright said. "Their technology makes them strong. But now we know their weakness." Rodriguez pointed to parts of the Dominion ships. "Their weapons are powerful, but their ships are built for speed, not durability. They've never needed to make them stronger because no one fights back effectively." Chief Engineer Catherine Lee joined the conversation. "Their energy weapons operate on a frequency our shields weren't designed for. But I can modify our systems. It will take time, though." "Time we may not have," Wright said grimly. "Our sensors show they're gathering more ships. The attack will come soon." Rodriguez stood straighter. "Then we need to be ready. I have a plan." He outlined his strategy. "Use the humans' natural advantages. Their strength in higher gravity, their endurance, their adaptability, against the Dominion's weaknesses." "They've never fought anything like us," Rodriguez said. "We're from a world that would crush them under their own weight. We can use that." The plan called for luring the Dominion forces into specific areas where gravity could be manipulated. The human ships would engage at close range, where their newly modified shields would give them an edge. "It's risky," Wright admitted. "We'll be outnumbered at least 6-1. "Risks are part of exploration," Patterson said. "We didn't come all this way to play it safe." As the meeting ended, Dr. Campbell approached Wright with another discovery. "Captain, the atmospheric toxins the Dominion uses. They're devastating to Kalian biology, but our tests show humans would be mostly unaffected. Our Earth-evolved immune systems and different lung structure give us natural resistance." Wright nodded slowly, a plan forming. "So we could operate on the ground even during their chemical attacks." "Exactly," Campbell said. "Where the Kalians would die in minutes, we could fight for hours." That night, as the Dominion ships moved closer, final preparations were made. Human and Kalian worked side by side. One species born from a gentle world, the other forged on a planet that demanded strength to survive. The Void Dominion had never encountered Deathworlders before. They were about to learn what that meant. The alarm sounded throughout the Kalian orbital station. The Void Dominion fleet had crossed the marker line. "All ships, battle positions," Captain Wright ordered from the bridge of the horizon. "Remember the plan. Let them think they have the advantage until they're committed." The 4 human ships moved into formation. They looked small against the approaching Dominion fleet. 15 warships in tight formation, their black hulls gleaming in the light of the Kalian sun. Ambassador Thalen stood at the back of the bridge, her skin pulsing with anxiety. "There are so many." "Numbers aren't everything," Wright said calmly. "Chief Lee, are the shield modifications ready?" "Ready as they'll be, Captain," Catherine Lee replied from engineering. She had worked 3 days without sleep to adjust their shields to resist Dominion energy weapons. The Dominion ships launched their first attack, bright beams of energy cutting through space toward the Kalian planet. But they met unexpected resistance as the human fleet moved to intercept. "Shields holding at 82%, reported Officer Foster. "Their weapons aren't penetrating as deeply as they expected." Wright nodded. "Now, Rodriguez. Spring the trap. The Horizon and two other ships, the Guardian and the Defender, suddenly accelerated, moving faster than the Dominion had seen any Kalian vessel move. They split the Dominion formation, causing confusion. The fourth human ship, the Aurora, deployed special gravity projectors that Captain Patterson had positioned earlier. Suddenly, several Dominion ships found themselves in pockets of increased gravity, not much by human standards, but enough to strain their systems. "They're slowing down," Rodriguez reported with satisfaction. "The gravity fields are working." The human ships pressed their advantage, their weapons targeting the weak points Rodriguez had identified. Two Dominion ships exploded in quick succession. On the Dominion command channel, which the humans had cracked, there was confused shouting. "What are these creatures? How do they move so fast in this gravity?" The battle raged for hours. The human ships took damage, but kept fighting. The Dominion had never faced an enemy who could match their technology and exceed their physical capabilities. But victory came with a price. The Aurora took a direct hit to its engine section. "Aurora is critical," Foster reported grimly. They'd lost power to life support on 3 decks. "Get rescue teams ready," Wright ordered. Aboard the damaged Aurora, Petty Officer Frank Martinez worked desperately to save his trapped crewmates. The ship was breaking apart around him. 6 people still in engineering," he reported over his comm. "I'm going back for them." "Martinez, the structural integrity is failing," warned the Aurora's captain. "You have 2 minutes before that section depressurizes." "Then I'd better hurry, sir," Martinez replied. He fought his way through smoke and debris, finding the engineers trapped behind a fallen support beam. With strength born from Earth's higher gravity, he lifted the beam enough for them to escape. "Go," he shouted. "I'll be right behind you." But as the last engineer crawled free, another explosion rocked the ship. The corridor collapsed, cutting Martinez off from escape. The rescued crew made it to the escape pods. Martinez did not. When the battle finally ended, 7 Dominion ships had been destroyed. 5 retreated, limping away at sublight speed. 3 were captured intact. The cost: 1 human ship lost, 18 dead, including Frank Martinez. In the command center, Wright watched the Dominion retreat with a grim expression. "We won," Thalen said softly, her skin glowing with the Kalian equivalent of tears. "But your people died for us." "That's what humans do," Wright said quietly. "We protect those who need protection." News of the battle spread quickly through Kalian space. The unbeatable Void Dominion had been defeated. The Deathworlders had stood their ground. And somewhere, in the darkness between stars, the surviving Dominion ships carried a warning to their fleet. Earth humans were unlike any species they had encountered before, and they had chosen their side in this war. A week after the battle, Captain Wright stood before a holographic map showing Void Dominion territory. Their victory had bought time, but the enemy would return with more ships. "We can't defeat their entire empire with just our fleet," Wright told his officers. "We need help." Ambassador Thalen nodded. "There are other species who have suffered under the Dominion. None dared to fight back before. Now they've seen it can be done," Commander Olivia Martinez said. She had arrived from Earth with 2 more ships, bringing much-needed supplies and personnel. "Exactly," Wright agreed. "Martinez, I want you to lead our diplomatic effort. Visit these species, show them what we accomplished here." Martinez looked at the map. "Some of these worlds are quite far." "The Kalians will provide faster ships," Thalen offered. "What we lack in war technology, we make up for in travel efficiency." 2 days later, Martinez departed with a mixed crew of humans and Kalians. Their first stop, the Vordath, methane-breathing beings who lived in the clouds of gas giants. The Vordath leader, a swirling mass of purple gases contained in a transparent suit, listened to Martinez's proposal. "You defeated the Dominion ships." The translator rendered the Vordath's bubbling speech. "We did," Martinez confirmed, "together with the Kalians. The Dominion took 3 of our gas mining stations last year, The Vordath said. "We have stealth technology that could help your alliance, but we cannot fight in the same environments as you solid beings." "We don't need you to," Martinez explained. "We need your technology and knowledge. Each species brings different strengths." Meanwhile, Dr. Alan Campbell led another mission to the crystalline HFY, beings made of living silicon whose computational abilities far exceeded human technology. "Your biological systems are so different from ours," the HFY representative chimed, its facets reflecting light in complex patterns. "The Dominion could not adapt their toxins to harm us, but their energy weapons shattered many of our people. Together, we can protect each other's weaknesses," Campbell offered. Back at the Kalian homeworld, Wright coordinated the growing alliance. With each new species that joined, their capabilities expanded. The Vordath provided stealth technology that made human ships nearly undetectable. The HFY enhanced their targeting systems beyond anything Earth engineers had developed. Lieutenant Rodriguez worked with military advisors from each species, developing tactics that played to everyone's strengths. The humans would lead direct assaults, with their physical resilience and combat experience. The Kalians would provide medical support and logistics. Other species filled specialized roles. One evening, as Wright reviewed battle plans, Thalon found him alone in the command center. "Your people continue to surprise me," she said. "You're so young as a spacefaring species, yet you coordinate these ancient civilizations with natural authority." Wright smiled. "On Earth, we have thousands of cultures, languages, and beliefs. We've had to learn to work together despite our differences." "The Dominion believes unity comes through conquest," Thalon observed. "You believe it comes through cooperation." "We've tried conquest in our history," Wright admitted. "It never lasts. True strength comes when everyone chooses to stand together." A signal chimed on the command console. A message from Commander Martinez. The Ordathi, a species of brilliant engineers, had agreed to join the alliance. They were already modifying several human ships with advanced weapon systems. "Our alliance grows stronger every day," Thalon said, her skin glowing with hope. "And not a moment too soon," Wright replied, pointing to the long-range scanners. A massive fleet was gathering at the edge of Dominion space, at least 30 warships preparing for a counterattack. The Deathworlders had shown the galaxy that the Dominion could be defeated. Now they would prove it wasn't a fluke. The real war was about to begin. The massive Dominion fleet arrived with a force that darkened the sky above the Kalian homeworld. 32 warships, each larger and more heavily armed than those they had faced before. "They're not just attacking here," Lieutenant Rodriguez reported, studying the incoming data. "They've launched simultaneous attacks on 3 other allied worlds." Captain Wright nodded grimly. This was no longer a simple battle, but a coordinated war across multiple star systems. "Deploy our forces according to the plan. Heliax ships to coordinate communications. Vordath stealth craft behind enemy lines. Our ships at the front." The Allied fleet was impressive. 27 ships of various designs, each modified with a mix of technologies from all member species. The humans had contributed their resilience and combat tactics, the Kalians their medical advances, the Vordath their stealth technology, and the Heliax their computational power. "All ships report ready, Captain," said Officer Foster. "Then let's begin," Wright ordered. The battle erupted across space. Dominion ships fired their energy weapons, but the Allied shields, now enhanced with Ordathi modifications, held strong. Human vessels led daring attack runs that would have killed most other species, pushing through gravitational stresses that their bodies could withstand but which taxed their ships to the breaking point. Aboard the Horizon, Chief Engineer Catherine Lee worked frantically to keep systems online. "These gravity shifts are tearing the hull plates apart," she shouted over the comm. "We need to ease back." "Just give me 2 more minutes," Wright responded as his ship dove toward a Dominion cruiser. Elsewhere in the system, Vordath stealth ships slipped behind Dominion lines, planting disruptors that interfered with their communications. The Heliax vessels, meanwhile, coordinated the entire Allied fleet with perfect precision, their crystalline minds processing battlefield data faster than any computer. But the battle remained evenly matched. For every Dominion ship disabled, an Allied vessel took critical damage. On the command deck of the Horizon, Lieutenant Samantha Collins monitored enemy communications. "Captain, I'm noticing something," she said suddenly. "There's a pattern to their transmissions. All orders are relaying through that ship." She pointed to a large vessel near the rear of the Dominion formation. Rodriguez studied it. "That must be their command ship. If we can take it out, we'd throw their entire force into chaos," Wright finished. "But it's too well protected. We can't get close enough with our ships." Collins leaned forward. "But what about a small team? The Vordath could get a shuttle past their sensors." Wright considered the idea. It was incredibly risky. A strike team would have to board the Dominion flagship and somehow disable it from within. "But if it worked, I'll lead it myself," he decided. The team assembled quickly. Wright, Collins, 2 human Marines, a Vordath stealth specialist, a Heliax tactical processor, and a Kalian medical officer. Their tiny shuttle, cloaked with Vordath technology, slipped past the Dominion defenses during a particularly fierce exchange of fire. Docking with the Dominion command ship was a delicate operation, but the Vordath pilot guided them to an emergency airlock that their intel suggested would be lightly guarded. "Remember," Wright told the team as they prepared to board, "these beings evolved in low gravity. In their suits, they're dangerous. Without them, they're vulnerable. Our advantage is that we can function in any gravity they throw at us." The team cut through the airlock and entered the Dominion vessel. Immediately, they noticed the lower gravity, about 40% of Earth normal. For the humans, it made movement easier, almost bouncy. They encountered 2 guards quickly. The human Marines neutralized them before they could sound an alarm. "This way to the command center." The Heliax guided them, its crystalline form processing the ship's layout from stolen data. As they moved deeper into the ship, Collins made a startling discovery. "Captain, look at these readings. The Dominion leadership, they're not just in exoskeletons. They're almost entirely mechanical." "What do you mean?" Wright asked. "I mean," Collins said, "that we might not be fighting an empire. We might be fighting a machine intelligence using these beings as puppets." The implications were enormous, but there was no time to discuss it as they reached the doors to the command center. The turning point of the war lay just beyond. Wright signaled to his team. "On my mark. 3, 2, 1. The Marines breached the command center doors. Inside, 12 Dominion officers turned in surprise. Their exoskeletons whirred as they reached for weapons. The strike team moved with practiced precision. In the lower gravity, the humans were faster than the Dominion expected. Within moments, half the officers were disabled. At the center of the room stood a different figure, larger, more elaborate in design. The Dominion commander. "Surrender your ship," Wright demanded. The commander made a sound like grinding metal. "Humans, Earth-born creatures, you should have stayed on your death world." "Last chance," Wright warned. The commander lunged with unexpected speed. Wright ducked beneath the attack and used the low gravity to launch himself upward, striking the commander's helmet with full force. The faceplate cracked. What Wright saw inside shocked him. Not a living being, but a complex array of circuits and mechanical parts surrounding a small biological core. Collins was right, he breathed. The commander attacked again, but the team worked together. The Heliax jammed the commander's communications, while the Vordath released a specially designed gas that corroded mechanical parts. The Marines fired precise shots at joint connections. Finally, the commander collapsed. Collins rushed to the main control console. "I can shut down their entire command network," she said, her fingers flying over the alien controls. "The Heliax code is working." Throughout the Dominion fleet, ships suddenly lost coordination. Some weapon systems shut down. Others fired randomly. The carefully orchestrated attack fell into chaos. "Send the signal to all our ships," Wright ordered. target the disabled vessels first. The tide of battle turned swiftly. Without central command, the Dominion forces could not adapt to the Allies' coordinated attacks. Within hours, the massive fleet was in retreat or surrender. 3 weeks later, representatives from all Allied species gathered on the Kalian homeworld. The Dominion threat had been neutralized. Their leadership, a small group of ancient beings who had used mechanical augmentation to extend their rule for centuries, had been removed from power. Wright, now promoted to admiral, stood before the gathering. Beside him were Commander Martinez, Lieutenant Collins, Rodriguez, and representatives from each allied species. "Today we establish the Galactic Council," Wright announced. "Not an empire, not a conquest, but an alliance of equals." Thalen stepped forward. "We owe our freedom to Earth. The humans came when we called, fought when we could not, and showed mercy when they could have destroyed our enemy completely." The Vordath representative bubbled agreement. "The Deathworlders have proven that strength can serve peace." The Council established its principles: mutual defense, scientific cooperation, cultural exchange, and a ban on conquest. Each species would contribute according to their abilities and receive according to their needs. Later, in a quiet moment, Thalen found Wright looking out at the stars. "Your people will return to Earth soon?" she asked. "Some will," he answered. "Others will stay as representatives, explorers, teachers." "I never asked you," Thalen said. "Why did you answer our call?" "Your people had nothing to gain and everything to lose." Wright thought about Frank Martinez and the others who had died in the conflict. He thought about Earth's long history, filled with both war and compassion. "On our world," he said simply, "when someone asks for help, we help. That's what being human means." A month later, the first cultural exchange began. Kalian artists visited Earth, marveling at its heavy gravity and diverse environments. Human scientists traveled to the Helix crystalline cities to study new forms of computing. Children from a dozen worlds learned about each other through shared lessons. The Void Dominion was transformed into a free association of planets, its technology now serving cooperation instead of conquest. And throughout the galaxy, the story spread of how a desperate cry for help had reached across the stars, and the Deathworlders had answered.